Okay, sikhule nje nikushoda manje mpithu igcwala. Last number kodwa idlu phinda uphala. Pull up in a trance namadusha ukhala. Igcwala, mpithu igcwala.
Okay, shoda ngani mase kufika thina gcwala. Sofa kunemali bathi phala phala.
Dumelang bagaetso, ke nna Thabang Mathonsi, hantle ke nna makhulu basi. Boss ya agriculture ka nnete. Ha ke le tjena ke pioneer the spirit of agriculture amongst the youth, not only on the level of farming but also the value chain and the opportunities connected to agriculture. But I don't like to complicate agriculture more, but I like them to start understanding it from a household level. And then from that level, helps people to start to be inspired and then empowered. You see, what happens is that unemployment basically means we are not getting any money in. So when you're not getting any money in, what happens? How about the expenses and things that are gonna cost you to lose money? So if you're an unemployed father like myself, but only tomatoes growing at your house, that's already saving 20 rand a day for tomatoes and fresh food. Only things like chilies, very, very beautiful chilies growing from your house. Chilies growing from your house. This is another 10 rand saved. You've got onions growing at your house. So basically, when you got your own backyard house or backyard farm, you are saving exactly 60 rand a day for the minimum requirement. So 60 rand a day times 30 days, how much money is that? And then if you now start learning advanced farming and going from subsistence farming to commercial farming, you'll start having the understanding, okay, I know how to farm for myself, but can you look at this surplus? Surplus, if let them have surplus, but there needs to come a time where you need to become more economical. So, for example, we take agriculture from seed level, which many people have about agriculture, they use seedlings, but us, when we start from seed level. This level can notice that because of, especially for the SADs, but the SAD, those are now recovering substance people. What happens is that when they start caring for the plants, it gives them a purpose in life. And then now that plant will grow into something, it's about every day I have to wake up on time. I have to water this thing and care for it. They are a routine. And through that routine, they get a purpose. So now, after learning the whole agricultural experience, it comes down to the point, okay, with all this knowledge that you have now, what are you going to do with this knowledge? Right. So, there's two aspects to agriculture. Only IKS, which is indigenous knowledge systems. Those plants, not every plant is there just for the sake of it. Only certain plants that are there for medical reasons, for health reasons, that are having the benefits, which is plants such as this. Bo alu, bo snake plant. These are not only decorative plants, but plants that have a purpose and medicinal benefits, which standard you need to have in your house. So, I know right now in the country we've got a big stigma and a big confusion, and because of limited knowledge, us African people, we tend to generalize marijuana. Marijuana is not only there for smoking purposes and those things. There's also another derivative of marijuana, which is this one over here. The hemp. This strand of marijuana to the untrained eye looks like any cannabis that anyone can just smoke, but it is mostly used in the textile industry as hemp to make rope, to make the school bag, and becomes cheaper and it's much stronger.
At the moment we have it planted, so we can conduct our own research on how to perform growing methods, treatment methods, processing methods, and yeah, we're doing seed collection and we're looking at CBD oil production particularly. So
in the spirit of backyard farming and us understanding that sometimes you don't have any funds for you to have greenhouses and stuff like that, we encourage people to start adopting a recycling mentality. We have taken plastics and normal things that you get from your garden and created a greenhouse. Within this greenhouse, it means we are able to produce the seedlings that have no season, that operate season. Like this only puts a person at advantage, because now with this tray here at the greenhouse, we make seedlings. So we start agriculture from the seed. which is the cheapest form of doing agriculture. I mean, look at this chili. From this one chili, already signally the seeds, they can give me about 10 more plants. So we teach people agriculture, hire the seedling, but to start from the seed format. So here we become economic because now after growing all our seedlings, you're welcome to come in. After growing all of our seedlings, what happens, we start selling these seedlings to other people who want to start backyard farms. Like currently with our youths, we've got a backyard gardening project whereby Motu would come to us, guys, I like what you're doing, I'd like to have a backyard farm by my house, right? I employ 10 youths from the community, I take them to the person's house, Balumokala, her own backyard garden. And then these seedlings, they become now chelete because we sell them. You see, so a packet of seeds would cost me 20 rand, right? But after that packet, I can make up to 1,000 rand, 1,500 rand by just knowing how to plant from the ground up, which is the real agriculture. By knowing how to do proper organic farming. By this, so now that's even avoiding to buy seeds from the shop. This is organic farming. So if we reach some agriculture from this level, they are at advantage because now it's money about creating without needing any external resources, and by them being wise to the wastage. So agriculture at a household level is basically knowing how to do farming from seed level, is knowing horticulture, for example, like planting tomatoes and chilies along the wall of your house. That makes sense because now it allows the grass not to affect the wall structure over the years. So it's a very wise thing to protect your structure and at the same time maximize the crops. Agriculture at the household levels, even my children now, they have an understanding of, okay, I must not waste water. Instead, if I don't know what to do that water, rather point into a bucket. Like the new jagger makes it half and I don't know what to do, they point into a bucket. And that same water goes back to the garden. Hence, we've got a swimming pool here. This is called water capturing. We're capturing water here. So as it rains so much, look how much water I have to water my garden with. And this is good organic water with no funny things inside of it, allowing for the crops to be thriving. This is the mentality we're trying to instill in our youths. I said to not rely on funding or financial support to do something, to use your own intellect, skill, leading resources around you to make something happen. So if I teach you how to save 60 rand a day, you're already employed. Thank you.
What's good, Biggie? Biggie. Sorry, Biggie. What's up, Biggie?
No, nothing's much, my brother. We are still pushing, very, very active within the youth space, within the disability space, and within the agricultural space. I'm all about YAPS, youth upliftment and project and skills development. That's what I do.
Okay.
That's me.
So agricultural space, disability space, and
youth activism. Yeah.
Why specifically youth though? Why are you targeting the youth?
Because I feel we could see, the government Samaje is old and then they're ready to give over the baton to the youth. But the youth is not prepared. Not only politically, but also in terms of economically. Also, with our life skills and unemployment and all those challenges, it makes it very difficult for youth to shine because already it's 1976, which is drugs and unemployment. So I feel with advocacy amongst the youth and as much concentration with youth is necessary for us to have a positive country. If we can develop much, but say young, by the time we're going to adults, at least over my adults, you understand? That's what you need.
So when you were a youth, what did you want to do basically?
When I was a youth, I was thinking about myself, getting a job for myself, just pushing marketing, pushing music, and just living like any other youth or like East End, because all of us were into hip hop and all those things. But only to realize, with hip hop music, get inspired to start trapping and start selling on a criminal record. After a criminal record, unemployed you understand? So I was also like a common youth, but from our repercussions, from about trapping and all those things, I ended up having a criminal record, which hampered a lot of opportunities for me. So while in long struggle and I'm with these opportunities and trying to get them above a criminal record, I met a lot of youth like myself who were struggling with these challenges. And not we're saying that we're big drug dealers or what. Just for the mistake of having a joint on you could cause you diploma yako, could cause you degree yako. And then you find with a skilled person, but was very number opportunities because of this criminal record. So that's how I was inspired with Namangala layups, even the active in the youth space.
Oh, okay. So it was like because of your own mistakes. That
yes. Wow. And I find it's good say it's best makuza muntu waziyo. I said, I find myself in God's mouthpiece of youth because I've walked their steps. I've lived the life of a typical youth. I know what it's like. Imagine a time I'm done at 18. So, my mistakes, my reputation could affect them. So I had to also, within the community, fix myself. Yabo, give me example in order to sing somebody cool and I with that same mentality it cost the youth so much. Because I feel if no to write so so the information is received much more properly.
Yeah.
You understand?
Because you're talking from experience.
Exactly.
You've been through the same mistakes.
Exactly.
The pressures of being a youth, the drug addiction, everything. So, like, where do you get that from? Like, Uti, it's wrong. Because most people would have actually carried on doing crime. I'm told, I've got a criminal record, I might as well just carry on stealing cars or doing whatever. But you were like, let me actually turn this into something positive. Like,
you see, Kona grace or Kona Mahawa Ngulunkulu. Well, most of my 7 friends that I grew up with, 4 are dead. Another is incarcerated. Omunye has gone crazy. And when by the grace of God in Pelele, so no scar, no criminal record, like free. The criminal record I served the same appeal, so it was expunged. But no criminal record, Angli Malanga, Angklangi, you understand? My future is back within me. But I'm going to have no chance there. Understand? So, in selling inspired having learned my lessons from both sides, from doing it and having that experience, to rapping about it and trying to make it cool, to seeing our consequences of it. Man can long day young, puts her in a position where buying a youth more effectively than Abazali.
Yeah.
Understand?
Yeah. Oh, so basically you go to schools and you try to speak to the youth, maybe at
you see, on ECT level, school level, I've got this other program, and you're using a teenage survival.
Yeah,
it's like education through my card games and my information packs. So those I do partnerships with various companies from my CSI portfolio, whereby they sponsor me, I print it, brand the logo on it, and I go to the schools and distribute that information. Information that deals with specific issues like about gender-based violence, deals in a substance and all those things. Like for example, this.
Oh, yes.
Yes, it was once endorsed by Health and Social. You see where they endorsed it, I put their logo on, and I go and distribute it at the schools.
Yeah.
You see? Yeah. And then this is my company, E3 Holdings.
Yo, you have another company.
Yes. So I was able to go and reach out to Colin. And then for needs youth. Needs is
can we open that?
Yeah, I can open it.
Yeah, and
in
see
it
what's inside.
Lead stands for not. You see, there's a classification of youth.
Yeah.
Babis are leads youths. Not in education, employment, or training. So those are the 18-year-olds until 35-year-olds. But that are not in education, employment, or training. Those are my target youths. You see, those youths I target them. My program, I've got a program called This Is Life. If This Life is basically a 4-point focal program, whereby it deals with entrepreneurship, it deals with life skills training, and it deals with work readiness training. You see, but all in the form of a game, same game format. Like a life skills game is usually like playing a snake and ladder, but with certain life skills game attached to it. So it's very, very interesting. We believe when you empower the youth, you don't empower with what you see is relevant. You first hear what they want. Understand? So that when they go out into the world, are a fully packaged human being. Show whether Ofuna or employed. Our work readiness program, employment, how to carry yourself in the workplace, employers' rights, how to do a budget, medical aid, life skills training, how to open a company, how to pay to your company, how to and then last Saturday then I see mix in a business training. In our business training program, we don't bombard people with information, but instead we teach you a value chain. You see, in every business, you see, when people say they want to teach Umuntu business, they try to teach you Itamati business or a mechanical business or a Chisanyama business, but that's not what you're actually looking for. I said, what you're looking for, Umuntu of Fundis, identify a value chain. You see, within the music business, Kona Abantu Mama brands, for example, or within the agricultural business, Kona Abantu logistics, Kona Ama scientist, Kona Abantu market, Kona Ama auctioneers. You see, there's a value chain within agriculture. So when you teach Umuntu to understand the value chain with their idea, they're able to identify where does their idea fit into the value chain. And like that, Umuntu thrives in business. So that's the approach you take. Basically, lastly, Sanda Ukfiza agriculture, recovery. I had a interesting meeting last in the Central Drug Authority. My whole approach to Abantu that are recovering from substances is that most NPOs, not that I'm speaking bad about other NPOs, but most NPOs, when you think about NPOs is non-profit organizations like a charity. When they think youth upliftment or I'm a youth program, they think I'm a computer course. They think maybe a call center course. They think maybe a sopo or I'm a pets. But we as YAPs, we try to have impact. Things that bring real change. So approach to youth is ukuthi package umuntu kuphuma umuntu ophelele. Hayi ukuthi sikufundisa business but awuna my life skills or sikufundisa work readiness but you don't even know ukuthi cook ama plastic kulesa ama grocer endlini nan. Or we teach you entrepreneurship but we don't teach you how to start it from the seed instead of being codependent on the government with support. I said that's our whole approach. Ukuthi umuntu abe self-sustainable from anywhere like akhona.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Can I just say what's on this thing? It says,
I wanted to talk about
you
that
hold
too.
the key to your own future. Say no to drugs. It's a drug safety kit.
Yes, sir.
Drugs drag you down. Sponsored by the Health and Social Development.
Yes, sir.
Oh, this is huge, bro.
Yeah, there's how many booklets?
How many
4,
booklets in
5, 6, 7, 8, nah?
8 booklets
booklets
of
inside.
different types of
Different drugs.
And I can see it's very creative, like the way you kind of like explain to someone. It's not like a normal. It's something that could capture like the attention of like a young person.
You see, this
You know?
Last time it was in rotation was 7 years ago. So trying to bring it back into rotation. In digital format, of course. But for our rural areas, this still counts a lot. Because not everyone's got access to a computer and all those things. But if we want to, all in all, drug safety kit, teenage survival kit, there's 3 kits involved in it. But I'll show you the other 2 kits. The other one deals with everything employment, how to make a CV, medical aid, what's the reason for it, banking, what's the reason for it, all those things. You understand? But basically, at the end of our training with, umuntu fana akwazi ukuhamba back into society, integrated ngama life skills, economical skills, and basic survival skills la emhlabeni. Uphume kumuntu ophelele wazi ukuthi why fana vote, why must be an active citizenship, because into short amongst the youth there.
Yeah, vote and no one's voting. No one's going to vote in this.
People don't even know what's going on in the country,
Bro.
You see? And it's very, very sad because, you know, we are the government, Tennessee youth, we are the government. But because the government now is so Nazi chiefs and pirates, the youth become confused and they lose our fundamentals. But the one fundamental information the youth cannot lose is the understanding of how to be an active citizen. That's what shapes the country. The moral regeneration of the country comes from there.
You know what's so crazy is that since you speak about this and we got to meet you, I had an epiphany the other day that like, because again I started looking like for a couple of months last year, and a lot of people don't know how to even create a CV, bro. Like, and grown people, like people in their 30s, though. I was against the CV. Like, they would ask me, "Joe, don't in the CV, Joe." Like simple, just creating a CV, bro, and just like applying online. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's something that, look. Yeah,
You see,
they really need these skills, bro. Especially in the township, bro. Like,
I'm a soft skills. That's what they
soft
call
skills,
it.
yeah.
I remember in lockdown, when lockdown started in 2020, the hard lockdown. The talk of E4IR had already started. That fourth industrial revolution, it already started subliminally, and then with that talk, people never mentioned Ogiti. There are certain skill sets that they're going to have to be input in people in order for them to embrace that technology. People didn't know. I mean, the technology, they put the world on shutdown where everything was stopped. And then, everyone can work remotely. Why? Zoom meeting. That's technology. And look, 4IR plus the reality of physically being at a place and not being there. Physically being able and not being able to do something. So, for example, umuntu that's deaf or umuntu that's blind. Umuntu that's blind, for example, can go to ATM these days. I my headphone. I can operate the machine. Yeah. That's 4IR. Man, just because we're in a Zoom meeting where all of us are in one place but the physically. So it blurs the reality. So bathi abantu maba-understand leyo nto leyo ne bahlule uku-understand ukuthi manje lama-drone lawa, these computers, all these things bazofuna abantu with the relevant skill sets, of which ama-skill sets akhona were not available at school yet. If we are phela came with a boom, so so thina sathi yapsi sa-realize ukuthi okay, now what do we do in this, because shuthi umuntu omnyama mos uzosala kulokhu siku-lockdown sonke sifocus ku-frustration ekudlana nani, but on the other side of the coin people are paranoid and they are busy upskilling themselves with relevant skill sets. LinkedIn learning, online learning became a boom back phase lockdown. But data nemali ukuthenga certificate days umuntu omnyama kade ngazafford. So thina siyabsaba nenhlanhla in 2020 we met up nenye program bathi Microsoft Global Skills Initiative. So Global Skills Initiative was planned by Microsoft. Good, okay, thina is Microsoft for CSI yethu globally, so one online course that people can do for free, right? When they do these courses, courses are accredited by Microsoft. So these courses are about customer service management, cyber security, big data, data sorting, data analytics, all those things. Those are my skills that became very, very popular in lockdown. But the people never knew where they're going to get some opportunities from because of data. So it's a partner on Microsoft in Africa Tikkun, and we managed to have an online learning platform, where now it's backed by Microsoft. Meaning now I could take a youth like Crystal Park, just send them a link, as they're sitting by your house, with an Usha course. I got my soft skills that are in demand. I'm my in-demand soft skills. I'm my in-demand skill sets. I'm my soft skills. But it's basically the relevant skills needed for you to become employable or functional go for IR. So this is a community cool. I remember when they ran the article, there's an article of mine there from the Pilgrim Times. I think this was 2022.
I think we'll show it actually.
By that time we had upskilled. Well, it was also mixed. Let me put this. You see at Crystal Park, a lot of our youth here, Banama Wi-Fi and Magoba. But it's Clovertin. I know. It may feel that now. So for those people, we used to actually organize our sponsors, like about Africa Tikkun and different people from the community, about my businessmen, to sponsor a transport. And then I used to pick up these kids one time every weekend, and I take them to Microsoft Center at Bramfontein, where they used to go to the center, and do the course and everything for those who didn't have data on a smart device. Basically, to building simply, and then we certificate and keeps a copy of the certificate, and then they carry on like that, they thrive. So that made a big difference to the community. My testimony and my confessions for many people have found employment using those courses. But because of we weren't so online learning, we found so it was difficult for me to reach other people. It's only in the last 2 years that I'm actually thriving in program because now I understand that the whole concept of online learning. I go to Facebook, the screen pair, or mark understand. So
also I think concentration, because when into online learning you need to concentrate and like on one thing for a certain amount of time. And I want
exactly. And you know, with understanding umhlaba with digital and accept digitalization will make things for much more easier because now we're starting to move in a pace of a lot of people who are against cell phone banking, they never want to hear but they see how easy it made it for them. But with everything and every change for Umuntu especially, or the previously disadvantaged, with everything that you implement to the previously disadvantaged child, you must always make sure that it comes with the relevant training. Because it's fine to say, let's all move it for IR, but understand this data. Understand this how to use data wisely. Because that's another problem that we have.
Yeah, the basics, bro, like basic skills. You know, people don't even know what data is, what it's for, for IR, for example. So, what's that? That's revolution. What's that, young Todd? The CSI, don't even know what that is, young Todd. So
I remember there was a campaign by Sirana, Sibizang a Smart Mampara. A Smart Mampara was basically to the idea came from working at Department of Education. We're doing onboarding at Colin. I need to see how the children are all using laptops from Colin. But you used to find resistance, like serious resistance. This person's got a laptop that's supposed to save his Katsuga, Eli, Brian, all those things. But imagine he's against the laptop. So you find it on board mistress with how to use a smart board. Where they like the problem the computer and from that, I realized what does it? They need to understand this. So 4 hours is not a choice. And the sooner we accept it, the more umhlaba is going to become easier. In the disability space, man, we're advocating for things like 4IR in agriculture, whereby I'm disabled, man. All I need to do is get my drone license. Man, the drone license, of course, if you get plazini, you surveying a drone. Crop, ama crops are good. Crops looking like ilwane, ama attacks in. Maskulma nge 4IR kuma disability. We speak of good construction site. You guys go survey like the site, survey the land, everything, giving a proper report about the land. You see, it's no longer now having to go out to the equipment. You can do it from the comfort of your home, but we are not aware of these things, and we are not skilled, and there's no advocacy for listening to this. Yeah, bo? Which makes me sad, man. Which makes me sad.
Actually, very the layups program, I saw it. Google in I think it's the same course.
Microsoft GSI, that's what you called it. Yes.
Yeah.
Microsoft GSI was one of the first ones. After when I was in Ellison, and it popularized LinkedIn Learning. You see, because when you sign up as a one, you also go to LinkedIn Learning. Because after doing our course, automatically certificates are uploaded on your LinkedIn profile. But there's digital learning. You see. So
yeah, that's
so. Who do you work with? Like, who are your partners in EEFs?
I've got a board and I've got executive.
Okay.
Right. A board abanting funding our EEFs.
Right.
It's different public figures. One of our partners is the ex-principal of a famous school like Davidson. So understanding one of our partners, with Treasurer too, she's been working Treasury for a very long time. So, and then I've got youths. The rest are my youths. In the various career spaces, and then with my executive, what I do, I like to take my intern that have studied towards that specific career. Father in marketing, I got my people to do marketing. My interns because I find it's very sad with their phone scholar for 3 years to diploma, but you don't have work experience. Understand? So as we have to always have that program, we take these people in and about 20 work experience, and then we like to also take our program smart training and we send them out into community to do the training so that now be empowered in you, because volunteering also is a big problem when there's no money involved for my youth.
That's true.
That's why we start to introduce the concept of social entrepreneurship. Abantu abaningi always thought you run an NPO, you just run it and then wait for your government to fund you and those things, but they don't know what you actually are allowed to make money as an NPO, but it's called social entrepreneurship. So while doing the good that you do, so how we'd like to link with the community is like having a vegetable garden like one we have now, and then having a commitment from your community. You know what? We're gonna buy these products from you. So you know what to you've got the support from your community immediately, and that helps sustain some organization.
And do you guys work within the East Rand or any
all right
environment throughout the country? Or
I'm gonna tell you something crazy. Well, that's crazy. When I share this idea, my whole program, I met up with one professor, was a UG, is a retired professor and magistrate, and then the secretary of Pidone High. So those people actually sat down, they created my life skills programs. This way I got this thing from. When they created these life skills programs, they were so impactful. But because of politics and stuff, it's not easy for them to fit these programs into a mainstream like South Africa. So we partnered and said, okay, let's partner up. When we proposed this, you see, this whole program, that's life, it's a train-the-trainer program. My aim, my goal that I'm working towards is for AMA NPO. Relevant. Everyone wants to open a youth organization, a youth something, but I also clear up about my programs. Everyone wants to run the soup kitchen or something. So I wanted to take my program and train all other incoming NPOs in the program, and then they take these programs and about train about good community. Because I've got some endorsement letters from the Department of Education, Hosi Mampuru Prison, EPSA, Balo World. Those are all the people that have trained other parts of our program, like this is business, Ipalo World, we've trained it at Ipalo World, this is business. So they managed to accredit it, doesn't Saivuma the program there. So with all that backing with the program there, we decided to approach NYTA last year. But I would okay, want to work with you guys because you guys have got a national footprint. So NYTA is got an office in every province. So
They got the reach.
You see, so all we wanted to do is to train NIDA and then go into the community and train them this very, very program. Because when we did that cancer program NIDA, we found that IET is much more powerful. It's much more impactful. Yeah, well, so we are still working on that goal. Hopefully, so a national footprint eventually. Maroga man, you are based like Eastern and West End.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, you said it stopped this, like introducing this to schools. You said it stopped, ne? You said it's because of the politics or what?
No, it's because what we do, ne? The people who are funding this before, the health department, immediately funding yabo.
Oh.
So now what we do, we attract private companies. For example, Spa. Spa, how about you're going to print the logo on these packs? Not going to print these packs. You sponsor us so that you go into the schools and do that. So that's how we reach out to my sponsors with using these packs. No. So it hasn't stopped. We're just waiting for my sponsors, currently, to come and take this term and carry on. Okay. But the programs itself, the life skills training program itself, mainly funding. Because, you know, when it's different when you're asking for a program, Lapo each child costs 60 rand. And then when you want to train umtana proven life skills with proven programs, it's a little bit expensive. So to convince the government is not so easy. Yeah. Although they see value and the backing account, but the magnitude of the money that you ask for, that's why we're trying to split it into multi-departmental. So in this life, mix with social development, agriculture, and all that funding comes in. It allows us to go national, but using a program that they can back and also get credit and shine from. That's our aim.
Hopefully you could get funding through this and someone can see it.
Someone can see this.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I like opportunity because it's very rare. Whenever you get a chance to get a presentation, you can only present your program. But on issue finally, I can present my vision for youth. Like rehab. What magapuma rehab, what are the necessary skills to reintegrate him into society. After that, what are my skills? I mean, are independent, like economically independent. And then after that, what nigga is skills in business. That person is a fully fledged person, fully fledged, and that's what we want for our youths. Because last week, got the statistic that 15% of the country is having a substance abuse problem. Like Davidson manje on metro FM got to Davidson with impact oqalile futhi was started the law into their own hands babashaya abantu laba. And this is a disorder, there's substance abuse. It's a disorder, but no one is speaking about it on that level. We're speaking about it as a problem, but not as a disorder. And that's one of the things I plan to change when I get given the opportunity. Because once you understand how this thing works and how to deal with things from the inside, and then after you've trained, or after you've taken the person out of your substance, you also train Lomontolona how to be a functional member of society again. That, my friend, that's the end vision.
Can I ask you a question before we go into everything else? How do you think, or what do you think is the root cause of substance abuse amongst black kids mostly? What is the root cause, Guti? Besides the drug dealers being there, but what makes us just go crazy when you start taking drugs or something like that?
You know, that's the problem with drugs, no?
You set the timer.
Yeah.
The problem with substance, no? Take a 13-year-old like Stapak on a Saturday afternoon. He's bored, he wants something to do. Gate. Is there a park they can go to? No. Is there a basketball they can go to? Basketball court they can go to? No. Is there indoor soccer court they can go to? No. Skateboard park they can go to? No. Youth center they can go to? No. Boredom becomes a problem. Boredom.
That's
the base.
They can go to is where people smoke.
And at that park is a merry-go-round. Nothing. Is there a swing? Nothing. So when you look at society, it looks like it's been planned for youth to be on substances. Because as much as when Umzalwa needs a gadget or something to keep them going, so for the youth, what is there? But when you check a youth budget, the money is there. It's there, but it's never implemented or applied. So to answer your question, the root cause of the problem is boredom. And then two, when you've got creatives, like General Eastern, this is the harbor or the port of creatives of Bubala Eastern. But they're not being stimulated.
As you said in the beginning.
They're not being stimulated, and all these other NPOs, they give the people what they think they want. not what these people really want. Like the thing I'm a maker center. Do you know what's a maker center?
No.
Where Nama container I-15, for example, that's the one container, you got your maker center there. You go there, you have with much job cell phone, you have all the tools there. Market so you leave 30% of that money for organization, you go. When I'm a creative, you just go to spend money. You can come to my place, get all these cameras, all the things that you need. We have organization 30%, you keep 70. I said, Ninabama animation, what you get the iPad, you can chill on the iPad there, data is there, you have a creative. It's Silicon Valley, that's what you need. Where creatives can go and have the resources they need to make their dreams happen. That's what they need for Israel. There's not a problem in Israel, drugs, there's not a problem with the youth. We're just frustrated as hell because as now platform outlet.
Positive platform.
And I said, Multi Guinea when I fully go full animation like I said, not doing with animation in Mali. I mean, until lockdown, music was underestimated by Bazali. But look at it, Jerusalem, what it did. To say even creativity can make a lot of money. It might was depend on some much generational cases. But I'm trying to explain that with I'm a talented singer. It's not practical. No sense of shop right.
Yes.
So that's what they need from a creative rate. I'm a maker center in the this substance abuse problem that they think is there is not actually there.
Positive outlets, really. Because if you look at more developed environments, bro, like go to Rhinefield, for example, the sports grounds there's a lot of other places and where kids can actually do positive stuff, unless we look in every corner and
another thing, see, the other was having an argument the last time.
What's that, Bernie?
Isn't it?